dear students, I am Miss Premal Popat. We will be studying about a 10th standard topic from Science and Technology Part 1. So, we shall start with the topic Effects of Electric Current. And today, we will be studying about the Module 1, which is Energy Transfer through an Electric Circuit. So, let's get started.
On the screen, we can see two GIF images of various electrical devices and appliances. We use them every day in our lives. Our lives have become dependent on all these devices and appliances. But why do we rely on them so much? We do because these devices make our work easy and faster. But how do these devices work? These devices work with the help of electricity. Electricity has its electrical energy. According to law of conservation of energy, energy is neither created nor destroyed, but it is transformed from one form to another. Now in this case, the plug represents the electrical energy. When this electrical energy is given to the lamp, it gives us light and also it gets heated. So, in this case, the electrical energy is converted to light and heat energy. Similarly, in the second example, the electrical energy is given to the computer, which is then converted to light, heat and sound energy. In the third example, this electrical energy is given to induction gas stove, which is converted to heat or thermal energy. In the last example, electrical energy is given to the mixer and it is converted to movement. Movement is nothing but mechanical energy as it rotates. Also, the mixer gets heated, so it is converted to heat and sound energy. We can also hear the sound. In all these examples, we have seen that electrical energy is converted to some other form of energy. Similarly, in our chapter, we have to study the effects of this electrical energy, that is nothing but electric current. Today we are going to study the effects of electric current. Before moving on with the chapter, let's just have a quick overview of the chapter. This chapter is divided into three parts. The first one is energy transfer in an electric circuit. The second one is heating effects of electric current. And the last one is magnetic effects of electric current. Today, we are going to study the energy transfer in an electric circuit. What is electricity? We know that electricity is flow of electrons through a circuit. But how this flow of electrons produces electricity? Let us understand this with the help of a picture. In this picture, we see an electric cell connected to a bulb via a connecting wire. And when this connection is complete, electricity flows through the circuit and hence the bulb glows. Now this connecting wire is nothing but the conductor. And the property of conductor is to conduct electricity. But why does it conduct electricity? It does because it has free electrons. Before moving on with free electrons, let us understand the structure of an atom. All the objects, things around us are made up of many atoms. Like atom is the smallest unit of the matter. In the second picture, we see the atomic structure of the carbon atom. The blue colored protons and the red colored neutrons are situated at the center of the atom, and this is nothing but the nucleus of an atom. The green colored electrons are revolving in orbit around the nucleus. The number of neutrons, protons and electrons are same in an atom. Electron has a negative charge, proton has a positive charge, and neutron has no charge. Due to the same number of protons and electrons in an atom, it is electrically neutral because the charges nullify. In the third picture, we can see the atomic structure of the copper atom. Now, copper is a good conductor of electricity. Electron has a negative charge and proton has a positive charge, right? So between these two charges there is a force of attraction because unlike charges attract each other. So the force of attraction between the electron in the first orbit and the nucleus is more than the electron in the last orbit and the nucleus. But why? It is because of the distance. Like the distance between the electron in the last orbit, that is nothing but the valence shell, and the nucleus is more, and hence this electron in the valence shell is weakly bonded to the nucleus, and due to this weak force of attraction this electron become free. In figure 1a, we see the blue colored free electrons and the orange colored atoms. So these electrons have become free and they jump from one atom to another in random direction. But when a cell or a battery is connected to this conductor, the electrons get a proper path, like they start to flow in one direction. It is because in this battery there are continuous chemical reactions taking place, and due to these chemical reactions a potential difference is created across this battery. That means the electrons are concentrated at one electrode of the battery, that is the negative electrode. Okay, and this negative electrode becomes the lower potential. Now due to the overcrowding of electrons at this negative electrode, they want to move to higher potential, that is nothing but the positive electrode. But why they want to move? Because like charges tend to repel, and at the negative part, that is the negative electrode, there is overcrowding of electrons. But these electrons cannot move from within the battery because inside the battery there is a barrier which will obstruct their flow. But when a conductor is connected across this cell, these electrons get a path to flow and they can reach to the higher end, that is the positive end of the battery. The free electrons help them in doing so. We saw that conductor has free electrons, and because of that the electricity is produced. So the conductors are nothing but the materials which allow electricity to flow through them. They do because they have low resistance and free electrons. What do we understand by this term resistance? It means that the conductor doesn't resist or obstruct the flow of electricity through it. And the example of conductor is the copper and silver. Moving on with insulators. Insulators are opposite to that of conductors, and they are the materials which do not allow electricity to flow through them. That means they have high resistance, that is they will obstruct the flow of electricity. and the example of insulators are plastic and wood.
The Ohm's law helps to find out the relationship between the current flowing through a wire and the potential difference across its ends. Now the formula of Ohm's law is V is equal to I into R, where V is the potential difference, I is the current and R is the resistance. This formula is valid when the physical state of the conductor remains constant. Now, the physical state of a conductor means its length, temperature, area of cross section and the material it is made up of. Now, this triangle helps us to remember the formula of Ohm's law. The V is written at the top, I is written to the left of the triangle and R to the right of the triangle. This horizontal line which divides the voltage and I and R is taken to be the division, and this vertical line which divides I and R is taken as multiplication. So I can write V is equal to I into R. Now if I want to write the formula in terms of I, so I will get I equals V upon R, and in terms of R, R is equal to V upon I. The unit of resistance is ohm. So I can write 1 volt upon 1 ampere is equal to 1 ohm. What is electric current? It is the charge passing through a conductor in unit time. If I consider a charge Q flowing through a cross section of the conductor in time t. Cross section is nothing but the length of conductor in time t. Then the current denoted by I is given by Q upon T. Q is the charge. Now the unit of time is second and charge is coulomb. So the unit of current is an ampere. So I can write 1A is equal to 1C upon 1S. When 1 coulomb of charge passes through the cross section of conductor in 1 second, then 1 ampere of current flows through the conductor. In the previous slides, we have seen that the electrons flow from negative electrode of the battery to the positive electrode. But conventionally, the flow of current is considered as flow of positive ions. So it is taken from positive end of the battery to the negative end. Second is the potential difference. Also in the previous picture, we saw that the potential difference was created in the cell. Why was it created? It is the unevenness of the charges at the two ends of the cell. So we can define the potential difference as the difference of electrical potential between 2 points, and the formula for potential difference between 2 points is given as work done between these 2 points upon total charge transferred. Potential difference is denoted by V. So the formula is V equals W upon Q. And the unit of potential difference is volt. And the unit of work is joule and charge is coulomb. So 1 volt equals 1 joule upon 1 coulomb. I have few questions which will help us to make understand how much we have understood about the topic. The first question is, how do we decide that a given material is a good conductor of electricity? When we can say that the given material is a good conductor of electricity, we can say it when it has free electrons and low resistance. And due to these two factors, the current can flow through it freely, that is smoothly. The second question is, iron is a good conductor of electricity, but when we pick up a piece of iron resting on ground, why don't we get electric shock? Now, as iron is the good conductor of electricity, when it is connected in a circuit, we get a shock. But when I pick up the rod of iron resting on the ground, I don't get shock. Why is it? It is because we need a source of electric potential, that is nothing but the cell, in order to get current flowing through our body. Now when I pick up the piece of iron rod, it is not connected to a source, that is cell, and current is not flowing through it, and that is the reason I don't get an electric shock. Now we will begin with the first part of the chapter, that is energy transfer in an electric circuit. Figure 4.2 shows us the electric circuit diagram. This circuit diagram comprises of a cell, a plug key, resistance, ammeter and a voltmeter. The ammeter is connected in this circuit to measure the current flowing across the circuit. The voltmeter is connected across the resistor, that is between points A and B, to measure the potential difference between these 2 points. So in this circuit we have a resistor, voltmeter, an ammeter and a cell. The potential at A is higher than potential at B. But why? Because A is connected to the positive end of the battery and B is connected to the negative end of the battery. This positive electrode means the higher potential and the negative electrode means the lower potential, and that is why the potential at A is higher than potential at B. If I consider a charge Q flowing across the resistor, that is between the point A and B, so the potential difference will be work done across this resistor upon charge transfer. If I rearrange the terms, I get W equals VAB into Q. Now this VAB is the potential difference across the resistor. The charge is performing work across the resistor, right? So for the charge to perform work, it has to have some amount of energy. Like in our case, when we want to perform some work, we need to have some energy. But from where do we get this energy? We get this energy from the food we eat. Similarly, for the charge to perform work, it should have some amount of energy. But from where does the energy come to do this work? It comes from the source, that is the battery. The cell gives the energy to the charge, and with the help of this energy, the charge performs work across the resistor. Hence the cell gives energy through the charge to the resistance where the work is performed. In this circuit diagram, we have considered that a charge Q flows from A to B in time t, that is across the resistor. The resistor does the work of opposing the flow of charge, and the charge in return does some work in order to pass across this resistor. So work is performed across the resistor in time t, right? Now when cell gives some amount of energy to the charge, with the help of that energy the charge performs some work across this resistor, so that energy is nothing but the work, right? So during that time, energy VAB into Q is given to the resistor. This VAB into Q, in previous slide we have derived the formula for work done, right? So this work done is nothing but the energy. Now some amount of energy is given to the resistor by the charge. But what happens to this energy? This energy is converted into heat energy, and the temperature of the resistor is increased due to this heat. Moving on with electrical power. Electrical power is denoted by B, that is P, and is given as rate at which electrical energy is transferred by the circuit per unit time. Now the charges does the work of transferring all the electrical energy through the circuit. The formula for P is energy, that is electrical energy transferred by the circuit upon time required to transfer that electrical energy. Now the energy is given as VAB into Q upon T. Q upon T is nothing but the current flowing through the circuit. So in place of Q upon T, I will write I. So I get electrical power, that is P, equals VAB into I. We have seen that the cell gives the energy to the resistor in time t. So P into T, that is electrical power into T, this amount of energy is given to the resistor by the source. If I consider the current flowing through the circuit, heat is produced in the resistor, right? That energy is converted into heat energy across the resistor. So heat is given as P into T. So I will substitute in place of P, and that is VAB into I into T. According to Ohm's law, the formula for VAB is I into R, or in terms of I can write VAB upon R. VAB is the potential across the resistor, that is between points A and B. Now I will substitute equation 3 in 2, that is I is equal to VAB upon R. After substituting, I get H is equal to VAB into T upon R, which is equal to VAB square into T upon R. This I will term as equation 4. Now I will substitute the Ohm's law, that is VAB equals I into R in equation 2. I get heat is equal to I into R into T, which is I square into RT. This is the Joule's law of heating, and this equations we will be needing to solve problems. Let us find out the unit of electrical power. The formula for electrical power, that is P, is VAB into I. V is the potential difference, and the unit of V is volt, and the unit of current is ampere. Also, the unit of V is joule upon coulomb, and that of current is coulomb upon second. We will substitute all these equations in the electrical power. So I get 1 volt into 1 ampere is 1 joule upon 1 coulomb into 1 coulomb upon 1 second. 1 coulomb gets cancelled. So I have with me now 1 joule upon 1 second, which is nothing but watt. So the The unit of electrical power is 1 watt. This was all about the energy transfer through an electric circuit. And in our next video, we will be using these equations to solve various problems. Thank you all for your attention.